Hey YouTube, Bouken Shinobi here with a review of the S.H.Figuarts Bouken Red from Go-Go Sentai Boukenger. US folks could recognize him as the Red Overdrive Ranger in Power Rangers Operation Overdrive. So, if you know him from that, yay. If you know him from Boukenger, even better. I'm personally not a fan of either of those shows, so yeah. The box art, we got the figure here with the Bouken Javelin going through the box, and that's kind of neat. I like the way it looks. Go-Go Sentai Boukenger there, Bouken Red, all one word. I've seen it spelled both ways with Boukenger. I don't really know which one to believe, so we'll just stick with this for now. Pretty cool bonus parts with the Bouken Scooper, so we'll take a look at that and the other Akibaranger weapons combined, because that's how this works. So here's the figure itself, and I don't really like it, honestly. It's rare that I actually don't particularly enjoy a figure, but something just seems very off to me. I don't know if it's that I feel like these should either be chrome because of just how ridiculously shiny they were on the show, or what it is, but something about this figure just seems very off to me, and it's not the fact that this joint isn't colored white over here, that I don't care about that. Joint color doesn't bother me. I just don't particularly care. But just something is very off about this figure, and I don't particularly know what it is. But, I mean, sculpt-wise, it is pretty well done. The proportions of the figure don't look too bad. I feel like there's just too much belly here, maybe. Like, his body is just too tall. Like, this entire area is just too tall, maybe. Like I said, I don't know what is bothering me so much about the figure. But, outside of my little nitpicks that might not even exist, the figure build itself isn't that bad. It is using the weird style shoulders. Don't really know what to call them because it's some sort of weird hybrid of shoulder technology. But you get a full rotation. Reminds me a lot of the Showa era rider shoulders, which I feel they should all be using. But, I don't know, I still don't mind the ones that the Dekarangers have. But the whole figure just seems very lightweight. There isn't much heft to him whatsoever since the figure's entirely plastic. There's no die cast on him whatsoever. Double joint there, you got a swivel there, double joint. Basic thigh joint at this point. And then the pretty nifty plastic kind of little swivel ball joint thingy, whatever they got going down here. So it's got a good ankle joint, I'll give it that. But it just, there's a lot of noise when you shake him. It's the shoulder mostly because there's a piece of plastic guarding the inside right there. So that's what rattles around when you shake him. His legs are a little bit loose on mine, as are the shoulders. So that's a little bit of a bummer, but your mileage may vary in terms of that. You got the logo right there. From the back here, you got the Accelular in the holder, the SurviGun. Not really sure how to say that since the pun doesn't translate into English all that well. But the SurviGun right there on the little holster. Both of those pop right off. The Accelular doesn't have a holster piece without the Accelular in it. So when he is holding the Accelular, you either keep him facing straight so you don't see the paradox, or you just take it off completely, and then there's just a hole in his belt. See? Hole in belt. So we're just going to leave this on for the entirety of this review, because I feel like doing it that way. So yeah, like I said, I don't particularly know what I don't like about the figure, other than the fact that it's Boukenger, and I don't like Boukenger. But, the helmet's not too bad. Seems kind of long. I don't know, maybe I'm just extra nitpicky because I don't like Boukenger. That's a possibility, I suppose. But, decent figure regardless. Like I said, I don't know what's wrong, so I can't really say, well, this is a bad figure because X. I just feel like something's wrong. But what his sculpt is, he completely makes up for with the accessories. So you've got a crap ton of accessories. You got the Akibaranger Bouken Scooper, which is really neat. Not painted on that side, but not a huge deal. So you got that going on. To hold the Bouken Scooper, the Akiba Girls apparently didn't come with proper hands because you now have two sets of holding hands for the Akiba Girls. So you got that going on. Hands for him, you have his signature snapping hands because he wouldn't be chief without the snappy hands. You've got the Javelin holding hands or the SurviGun holding hands. They all use the same width to it. So you got those. And these. So you got 3 sets of holding stuff hands. And then you just have splayed open, like high five hands or whatever's going on here. The SurviGun right here, it is different than the one on the belt because the one on the belt has a little peg sticking out of it, so they included one without the peg. The SurviBlade, the Bouken Bo, the Bouken Javelin, which is just the Bouken Bo with the blade sticking out of it. The Accelular in command mode, and the Accelular in search mode. So you've got literally every combination of weapons you could ever imagine possible with this guy. So pretty neat. So like I said, this does come with the individual Bouken Scooper for the Akibarangers as well as the hands seen there. But we're not going to bother bringing in the Akibarangers for this. But I will show off the combination of the 3 weapons to make the outrageous cannon or penultimate cannon or anything to translate that word correctly. However you want to say it. So to get that, you flip this up, spin that around. So you got this going on. You attach it to the jet winger, flip this around, and it just pegs right in here, like so. So you got that going on, and it's kind of starting to look like a cannon somewhat-ish. Take the Deka Wappa and split them apart. Open like so. These will attach to the pegs right here. So peg those in accordingly. You might want to flip them around until they fit, just like that. Same thing over here. Flip them around. I had them backwards. Just like that. Bring these so that they are open. And make sure that they're straight, like so. And then the SPD emblem right here will slide right on to the base of the Bouken Scooper. And there you go. Here is the penultimate cannon, or the outrageous cannon, or whatever. The Akibarangers final little attacky thing. Very cool, so you can display them like this, if you so wish. Or you can display the Akibarangers with the individual 3 weapons, or anything of the like. So really cool, the fact that they were able to get all of these out by releasing the Red Warriors, Red Rangers, Red whatever, from the respective seasons, I think is really cool. So I do thank Akibaranger for that. It did give us some pretty nice figures and some pretty cool weapons. So I really do like the way that this ends up looking. So overall, I think it's a pretty decent figure. The sculpt is actually pretty good despite what I was saying earlier. The things I think that I feel are wrong with it are outside of the joints really effing with some people. I would have loved to see a little bit more of a metallic silver used on this guy, just based on how beautiful that the suits in the show were. With these portions, I think his shoulder pads up here should have been a tiny bit thicker. They look a little bit too close in with the suit, and I think that's throwing it off a little bit. Other than that, I can't really pinpoint my problems with it outside of the fact that I wasn't a huge fan of those suits. But regardless, the overall look accomplished by the figure is really good, and I am looking forward to more Boukenger releases, particularly how they pull off Bouken Silver. That'll be really interesting to see. So, what the figure itself doesn't accomplish, the accessories absolutely do. Because in all seriousness, with 9 hands, technically 3 different Accelulars, 2 SurviGuns, the holster, the SurviBlade, the Bouken Bo, the Bouken Lance, 4 Akibaranger hands, the Bouken Scooper accessory. With this many accessories, any sort of flaws that the actual sculpt of the figure has completely made up for it with the accessories. If you don't have any sort of problems with this figure and you love Boukenger or Overdrive somehow, then by all means pick up this figure. Don't let my little nitpickies stop you at all, because that would just be silly. I'm not a huge fan of the suits. I'm not a huge fan of either of the shows. So the release was kind of meh on my part, and I could just be pulling at strings that might not even be there. So, if you love the figure, I see no huge problems with it in terms of the build of the figure. A couple of my joints are a little bit loose, but like I said, your mileage may vary when it comes to things like that. So, don't let my potentially loose figure stop you from picking this up, because you could get one that's absolutely spot on. That's just how Figuarts work recently, with the quality control being all through the roof and crazy and wishy-washy. So, pretty good figure despite what I think about it overall. Can't really complain all that bad about what it's worth. So, very good figure. If you like Boukenger, definitely pick it up. Plus, if you really want the Akibaranger weapons, you kind of have to. How it works. So be sure to check out SurviGun.com for latest updates on my reviews and hauls. And of course, check out RidersRangersRambles.com, the podcast bringing the latest token news in the craziest way possible. And of course, get this guy and more at CSToysJapan.com for all of your tokusatsu merchandise needs. So take care and have a great one. Bye.